Commander Zekthor of the Varlinian Empire stood on the bridge of his flagship, observing the primitive blue world through the view screen. Earth, the inhabitants called it, a backwater planet on the edge of explored space, home to a species that had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel. The Varlinians had been watching humanity for decades, studying their broadcasts, analyzing their technology, cataloging their weaknesses. "They are soft," Zekthor's tactical officer reported, mandibles clicking with amusement. "Their bodies lack natural armor, their claws are pathetically small, and they possess no venom or enhanced strength. They cannot even see in multiple spectrums." Zekthor nodded, his four eyes gleaming with satisfaction. The Galactic Council had warned the Varlinians against unprovoked aggression. But what threat could these fragile beings possibly pose? The Empire needed Earth's resources, particularly the rare minerals buried beneath its crust. The humans would surrender quickly once they understood the futility of resistance. "Begin the invasion," Zekthor commanded. The Varlinian fleet descended upon Earth like a crimson storm. Dozens of warships emerged from slip space above major population centers, their weapons primed and ready. Zekthor expected panic, chaos, and swift capitulation. Instead, he received something entirely unexpected: defiance. Within hours, human military forces mobilized with startling efficiency. Their ships, though technologically inferior, launched themselves at the Varlinian fleet with reckless abandon. Zekthor watched in bewilderment as human pilots executed maneuvers that should have killed them. Tight turns that generated forces exceeding what their fragile bodies should withstand. Kamikaze runs that sacrificed individual ships to damage larger Varlinian vessels. "They're suicidal," his tactical officer shrieked. "They show no regard for self-preservation." But Zekthor began to understand it wasn't suicide. It was strategy. The humans were buying time, forcing the Varlinians to commit resources, studying their enemies' tactics even as they died. Every engagement, no matter how one-sided, provided the humans with data. The ground invasion proved even more disturbing. Zekthor had assumed that once Varlinian warriors, each standing 3 meters tall with armored carapaces and razor-sharp limbs, landed on Earth's surface, the humans would flee in terror. Instead, they fought. They fought in ways the Varlinians had never encountered. Human soldiers established ambushes in urban environments, using their intimate knowledge of their own cities against the invaders. They employed guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run attacks, and psychological warfare. When Varlinian forces secured a position, humans would appear from sewers, from hidden tunnels, from rooftops, attacking with weapons that seemed designed specifically to exploit weaknesses in Varlinian armor. What horrified Zekthor most was the humans' adaptability. Within days, they had reverse-engineered captured Varlinian technology. Within weeks, they had developed countermeasures. The soft, clawless beings proved to have something the Varlinians lacked: an extraordinary capacity for innovation under pressure. The turning point came during the Battle of New Delhi. Zekthor had committed a significant portion of his ground forces to capturing the city, believing its fall would break human morale. Instead, he walked into a trap. Human forces had lured the Varlinians into the city center, then systematically collapsed buildings, blocked escape routes, and divided the invasion force into isolated pockets. What should have been a straightforward military operation became a nightmarish street-by-street battle. The humans used every advantage their environment provided. They knew which structures were stable, which streets led where, which tunnels connected which buildings. But it was the humans themselves that truly shocked Zekthor. He watched through combat drones as human soldiers, wounded and bleeding, continued fighting. He saw medics running into active fire zones to rescue fallen comrades. He witnessed human commanders refusing to abandon their positions even when retreat was the logical choice. These beings, so physically inferior, possessed a psychological resilience that defied comprehension. One image burned itself into Zekthor's memory: a human female no larger than a Varlinian juvenile, standing atop a destroyed tank. She was firing a salvaged Varlinian plasma rifle with one arm, while the other hung useless at her side, clearly broken. 3 Varlinian warriors charged her position. She didn't retreat. She didn't surrender. She adjusted her aim and fired until her weapon overheated, killing 2 warriors before the third struck her down. That single human had eliminated 2 elite Varlinian soldiers despite being wounded, despite being outmatched in every physical category. It was then Zekthor understood the terrible mistake he had made. Humans weren't weak because they lacked natural weapons or armor. They had evolved on a world where survival demanded something else entirely: intelligence, cooperation, and an indomitable will. They had spent their entire evolutionary history as persistence hunters, as tool users, as problem solvers who refused to quit even when circumstances seemed impossible. The Varlinians had brought overwhelming force. The humans brought something more dangerous: the absolute refusal to accept defeat. By the third month of the invasion, Zekthor's forces were in retreat. The humans had learned Varlinian tactics, stolen Varlinian technology, and developed weapons specifically designed to kill Varlinians. More fleets arrived from the outer colonies. Humans had spread across multiple star systems, and they all came home to defend Earth. The final insult came when the Galactic Council intervened, demanding an immediate ceasefire. Zekthor had expected them to censure the humans for their brutal tactics. Instead, the Council condemned the Varlinian Empire for initiating unprovoked aggression and formally recognized humanity as a protected species. Protected? Zekthor had protested. They are savages. They fight without honor, without restraint. The Council's representative, a wise elder from the crystalline worlds, had responded with words that would haunt Zekthor forever. They fight to survive. They fight to protect what is theirs. They fight with every advantage their evolution provided them. You called them weak because they lack claws and armor, but they don't need claws. They built weapons. They don't need armor. They built shields. You measured them by your standards and found them wanting. That was your error. Humans don't fight like Varlinians. They fight like humans, and that, Commander, is why you lost. As his damaged flagship limped away from Earth's solar system, Zekthor took one last look at the blue world. Humans were rebuilding already, repairing the damage his invasion had caused, tending to their wounded, mourning their dead. But they were also watching the stars, building new ships, preparing for the next threat. The galaxy had believed humans were weak. Now the galaxy knew better. Humanity had announced itself not with diplomacy or trade, but with blood and fire. They had shown the universe that soft skin and small claws meant nothing when backed by unbreakable spirit. Zekthor filed his final report with a warning that would circulate throughout the Empire. Never underestimate humans. Never mistake their physical limitations for weakness. And above all, never back them into a corner. Because when threatened, humans don't just fight to win. They fight like the entire universe depends on it. And perhaps, Zekthor thought grimly, one day it would.